Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The ULM mention is the greatest. You'd hope for the best as a ULM fan, but
this is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast with hosts Dusty Thibodeau and Chase Regent.
Chase, you always have such great insight.
Thibs is going to bleep it all.
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
Really, really appreciative of the people and the community and the way that they've backed us up.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Chase, I told you a lie last week.
What was that?
I told you that we were close to lifting a big trophy from Commissioner Keith Gill in softball.
Yeah, I did say you were getting a little ambitious, but I liked the confidence until the hammer came down.
What's up with that? That Texas State swept both baseball and softball over the weekend.
I've always felt like Texas State has that opportunity to be a powerhouse, dude. Just where they're located, where they're situated in Texas, the access to facilities and everything they have. I've always felt like. Now, with that, still hate them because of G.J. Kinney, and we talked about that last week. But, I don't know, dude. Just didn't watch a single game. Couldn't tell you why it happened.
Just know, though, until this year, or I don't even think it's officially open yet, their weight room, They actually went to San Marcos High to lift weights because their weight room wasn't big enough for their athletics.
Oh, I bet you San Marcos High's facilities are crazy, though.
I forgot you're a Texas guy, so you know all about that.
Yeah, dude, I had much nicer facilities in ULM. No shade to my college, but my high school had full indoor, 4 or 5 football fields, 4 weight rooms. We had it all.
We got an indoor. We just get enough of the student managers to hold a tarp tight.
Hold the tarps over. That's terrible.
Doesn't that count?
It might at ULM. No, they'll try.
In other news, we got the final 2 for presidential candidates. Dr. Castile, hailing from LSU and Louisiana Lafayette, where she's currently overseeing an ag program.
Yeah, disgusting, but whatever.
And I forget his first name, but Broadwater, former state representative.
Guess where he graduated from.
And head of Delta Community College. I don't know. Where did he graduate from?
I think he did his JD at LSU.
Doesn't everybody?
Still counts, still sucks. No, Southern, great school, great law school, Southern.
Okay. Don't be bitter.
No, I mean, I hate the idea. I'm sure they're fine people. I know nothing about them really beyond their degrees. I just, I hate LSU. And if you put Lafayette on your bio, I'm gonna hate it too. So,
I did have to laugh at some of the hearings where Romero, I think is his last name. He's a big graduate of Louisiana Lafayette, and every time he would speak, he'd go, "I'm from the University of Louisiana."
No way.
Lafayette.
No way. Fired.
He would.
I love the idea of, it seems like they're both from things that have been successful previously. I like that. And I like that they have knowledge of the UL system and all the kind of intricacies that go with that. So excited to see. Always hope they can make a commitment to athletics.
Yeah. I feel like that's the yin and yang, at least from what I've seen, that Broadwater is on the bandwagon of current interim of we belong in the Southland or even lower. Maybe we'll go to Gulf States.
God. Oh, don't make me cry today. It's been a good day.
I like making you cry. Because still, I don't think that she would really cross the bayou much. Good, bad, or different.
You're great. Keep hiring people like Hartwell. Stay out of their way.
She didn't hire Hartwell. But.
I know that too.
But someone that did help hire Hartwell is our guest this week. SWA, Senior Women Administrator, Dr. Carmen Wright. Yes, Carmen, I know you don't have a doctorate, but we're still giving you a damn doctorate, okay? Just smile and go with it.
I love it. I'll take it.
Don't take that, Carmen. It's blasphemous.
I'm just trying to get her on same par as former football standout James Wright, who is a doctorate. I'm trying to make them equal.
Yeah.
If you say Dr. Wright, I'll speak up. For better, for worse.
If you say Dr. Region, I will not speak up. So
He's turning around to see what the look is on her face.
or where my wife is. Yeah.
So Carmen, we kick off every time we have a guest. Why ULM? How did you come to ULM? Which I kind of know the highlights of the story, and it's fantastic of when you were a student athlete. So tell us why ULM.
Yeah, so way back long ago, when dinosaurs walked the earth. No, just kidding. So I was being, recruited by a lot of the states, a lot of the schools in Texas, being from Katy. Best friends, one best friend went to UT, the other one went to A&M. And my dad actually worked for Piccadilly Cafeterias at the time. He was the senior vice president, and one of his stores was Monroe. And so he met my former coach there one time when he was doing a visit, and Rosemary Holloway was in there, and they struck up a conversation. And I still had a visit left, and my dad was like, "Look, I think we should go check out ULM." And I was like, "Okay." And I came on my visit and absolutely fell in love with the people. It was really the people and my teammates at the time. We were very like-minded and very girly group, would put on makeup before a game, and that kind of resonated with me, and that wasn't always the case on some of the other visits that I went on. And so it was just very much a home environment, and it was far enough away that I could still have my independence, but close enough that I could get home if I needed to. And so the rest is history. So that's what brought me to ULM.
And Chase, from her playing days, I did the research.
Ooh, pulled it up.
Oh, buddy.
I've never exposed her like this, so let's hear it.
No,
She had some wheels. She had some wheels. She was 4 stolen bases one year.
Come on. Come on.
What they didn't tell you is I was running from first to second, and there was a runner on third. So they weren't really. It was an automatic, but I'll take it.
Oh, hey, we're positive here, Carmen.
Yeah,
just take
I like it.
Just take it. Just say, yeah, that's right.
I like it.
Carmen, as I've said before, though, even when I played softball, I'd make good solid contact, something that should be a double. As soon as I hit it, I was already tapping the head like, hey, I need a runner.
Bring my runner in. Yeah.
Yeah. All the time.
So you play at ULM. I know, we're friends well beyond this podcast, but you meet. I want to know, I've never asked you this question. And so I wanted to say for the pod, how did you meet James and how did that work? And I know you guys left at some point for him to go get his DPT and then came back, right? So what made you come back and how did you guys meet?
So actually, it's a funny story. We met at Schultz Cafeteria.
Oh,
okay?
what a ULM love story.
I can't.
Oh, that is a perfect. That is the ULM of ULM love story.
Y'all, I can't make this stuff up. Okay. So actually, one of his teammates was saying, "Hey," and it was after practice. All the athletes kind of migrated over around the same time. And so one of his teammates was saying like, "Hey, why haven't you called me?" or something like that. And James was like, "Yeah, why haven't you called me?" And I'm like, I don't even know you. And so that was our first introduction. And then the next semester we had a class together. And so that's when I really got to know him a little better. And we were really friends first before we ever started dating for like years. And then he actually wrote me a love letter. I still have it.
Oh, he's going to love this. He's
going to love cliche, this. Okay? But he wrote me a letter, and after the awkwardness of like dating somebody who I literally just kept in the friend zone for so many years, it was easy because we already knew each other, and he had been to visit Katie, and I had been to Shreveport to visit his family. And so it was very easy, very familiar. We truly were best friends. So that's how we met. And after I finished eligibility and graduated, that was during the recession. And so I wasn't ready to be a true adult yet. And so I went to grad school.
Yeah, been there.
And so during that time is when James was accepted into the DPT program. And so I got an internship while I was finishing my MBA, and got an opportunity to work at St. Francis, the hospital, one of the hospitals here in town, and loved it. And the people, as y'all know, are the greatest. And so when James finished up, they were looking for a physical therapist, and so we're like, "Hey, let's stay here for at least a little while." I really always thought we would end up in Texas, just because I am a Texan through and through, forever and ever. But we've been here quite a long time. So, anyways, the rest is history.
Hearing that you always think you're a Texan through and through, I feel like I was the player to be named. Like we were somehow the trade, because I never thought that my wife would ever leave Monroe and her Neville roots to come to Katy, Texas. So, Carmen, that's where we're tied together. Is we were definitely the family swap there.
That's right, for sure.
Now that you've been elevated to senior women administrator, you get an awesome title. Big shoes to fill with people like Lisa Veritamides that were in that role before. But what does that role really entail, and how do you kind of tackle it on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I think you're exactly right. Lisa Veritamides, Ashley Simmons, these are the greats that were before me. And really, with me coming through the academic side, Lisa and Ashley previously were held compliance roles. And so it's really being an advocate for the student athletes. That's what I feel. Having a seat at the table, making sure every side of the story is told. Athletics now is very different from when we were coming up. And so when we have to make those decisions, it's just making sure that we have the full picture before we go forward. So it's wearing many hats. The academic unit reports through me, and so just the challenges with the portal and athletes having additional years of eligibility, and what that looks like from an academic side, and still trying to stress the importance of getting that degree. And so it's interesting. It's never the same thing every day. That's for sure. So
I had the pleasure of my academic advisor being Dr. Kathy Parker. The great, you want to talk about some greats?
Respect.
Dr. Parker was integral in making me realize that I am not going to be a doctor. I am going to be a communications major. And so I love that. I want to know, how'd you get into that kind of work? I mean, sometimes very rewarding. I know sometimes it's incredibly challenging. And I know sometimes, you want to body slam a lot of people, but what made you think this is what this is my path here, and something that challenge I want to take on?
yeah, so I was at the hospital in different roles for about 8 years, and was looking for something different. And actually, Lisa Veritamides, who was head volleyball coach at the time when I was at ULM, and Dr. Wayne Brumfield was one of the VPs at the time, and he's a good family friend. So just looking for a change, something different. And Lisa, I'd spoken with Dr. Brumfield and his relationship with Lisa, and she reached out and just said, "Hey, we've got a position in academics." And I really felt like it was full circle to be able to give back. And at the time, as an academic counselor, to a university that gave so much to me, obviously, being a scholarship student athlete, meeting my husband there, and just what ULM means to the community. And so I thought, hey, this is a change of pace. I get to be with my people, in athletics, but, in the academic role. And and we still see so many first generation college students. And so, we still, there's still a large number of student athletes who, when you ask them what they want to do, they're like, I'm here because I'm going to be a professional, fill in the blank. It's just required that I have to be in class and the school part. And so understanding that, just really a new challenge. And so it's working with the student athletes is such a privilege. It's such a fork in the road for them. You know what I mean? It's kind of when you're in college, it's like you're putting everything that your parents taught you to test, right? And so there's some stumbles that take place, but there are a lot of victories and positive things. So it's just cool, the energy of the student athletes, that age, the 18 to 22-year-old. They keep you young, hip with all the lingo. They challenge you and many nights make me question, am I doing the right thing? Am I, getting through to them, saying the right things? But I love it. I can't see myself doing anything else, honestly. So.
Yeah, plus you get to go on the sidelines and enjoy the sports. And I know you and your husband are huge fans of all ULM sports. And every time I'm at a game, you're at a game, and
Yeah.
you and your kids run around. I really thought you were going to mention about how you will annoy between you and Avery and Gammon and everybody else on the sidelines will try to distract people on the sidelines. And I will
Love
say I
it.
always appreciate it and love to see you there.
Yeah. keeping things professional, but I like to, make sure you're staying in character on the sidelines for sure. Yes, yes. It's always good to see a familiar face, and when we get athletes who come back
Sure.
and getting able to interact with them and catch up and see what they've been doing. So it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
So one of the hard parts, I know that you are a supervisor and oversee a couple of sports. What sports are you overseeing, and what's the future hold for those?
Yeah. So we currently have an opening, and as of last week, I believe it was Thursday, one of my counselors, Miranda Weed Delaney, has gone out on maternity leave. So she just had her third. And so track and
Congratulations.
field and cross country, but also tennis, baseball, men and women's golf, and indoor volleyball. So we haven't decided how we're going to uh, split things up over the summer. Um, but I wear many hats, and sometimes you get a curveball thrown at you. So she went out about 6 weeks earlier than we had anticipated. So, fun times. Never a dull moment, and never the same thing every day.
Wait, so you get to supervise golf? You got to be beating your chest that, hey, my sports are carrying the load here.
Listen, I will tell you that it's funny because sometimes I didn't get to go a couple weeks ago, but last year we traveled with women's golf to the conference tournament, and I am very enthusiastic with my support of our student athletes, and that doesn't always translate the best to our country club sports. And so on the golf course, there are certain rules that are understood that I wasn't privy to, but like you have to be quiet, and the way I cheer at football, basketball, tennis is the way I cheer at golf, softball, and baseball. So it's fun, and the student athletes get a laugh out of it, and so yeah, it's interesting.
Well,
ULM
shame on James.
SWA ejected from conference tournament.
Hey, we talk about it on the pod. Don't worry about it, Carmen. We'll
I
give you a shout
know,
out if
I
it happens.
know. Listen, I
Shame on
try.
James.
I don't. I've had people ask me sometimes, like, why don't I do stand on the sideline at football, but like at basketball, why don't you sit? And part of it is because Sloan and Roman would
Yeah, that's like your kids.
interject
Yeah.
themselves into the game. But the other part is I'm very passionate, and I truly love our student athletes as if they're their own. And sometimes our officials need a little assistance, and if I'm in the stands, you really don't know who it's coming from, and so it's not always appropriate for the SWA to be as vocal as I can sometimes be. So I stay in the back.
You're just a huge fan. I know you are. And I want to say shame on James because I've been golfing with your husband, who has whooped me up and down that course. And he knows all of that. Very good golfer, by the way. And a great friend of Carmen and I's, Ty Harp. He was interim. I remember this. He was the interim golf. He was in compliance with ULM SWA. You remember that, Carmen? He used to go. And he came back. Yes. And he came back with a bag and full, like he had every
the swag
single
was
piece.
on another level for that. Yeah.
Oh, he was the interim coach or something. He did it for one thing, whatever, dude.
Yeah, he traveled with them to the tournament.
Yeah, and then he just happened to steal about $5,000 worth of gear, or was given. I'm sorry, it was given like 5,000 gear, whatever.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. That's Ty. That's Ty, though. Like that's the look he has.
Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we just want some gloves and socks.
Dude, I've been begging Martin, okay, and I don't want to, again, we're friends, so I don't want to go down this path with you. But I have just enough of a friendship and a working relationship to talk crap about Martin every single time I come on this podcast, because we're like 3 months past his interview. I don't have a shirt.
Okay.
I don't have,
All right.
I want something. Again, I don't,
Okay.
don't make any calls for me. I just like to talk crap about Martin when I can.
Yeah, listen, I will get that in the mail to you. You'll have
No,
don't.
I'll see you.
He wears extra small, by the way, Carmen.
Yeah.
And he'll post pictures of him enjoying it.
He's very slim and trim. This Chase is got his physique in check. He's got his summer body ready. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, my
He's
summer body has been the summer body since a 300-pound summer body, and I'll rock it, dude. I don't care.
It's good. I like it.
Jeez. So, Carmen, we know that there is, as Chase and I were talking about on the presidential front, what are the things that you, as administrator of athletics, feel like this next president coming in needs to kind of do whenever they take the reins of the university?
Yeah, well, from an athletic standpoint, I think it's it's a difficult time right now with the university and some of the financial challenges that we have, and I feel like sometimes athletics can be kind of seen as low hanging fruit because we do or have been operating in a deficit, but they're just understanding the clear picture and the value that athletics brings to the campus. The diverse student athletes that we have from literally all over the world, the interaction that they have with the rest of campus, the value that successful athletic programs and how that contributes to the health of a university. And just the success that they do have in the classroom and the rigor that they go through as student athletes, traveling, competing, getting in at 2:00 in the morning and having an 8 a.m. class, balancing the time management that it takes. And really the overall experience that athletics brings not only to our student athletes, but the student body as a whole. And so just us partnering with all areas of campus to navigate, the challenges that we have ahead of us and to get on the other side.
My recommendation was, what is it? Guilfol is a sponsor of ULM. We're selling plasma, baby. Raising the money.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fundraising and really the community just partnering with us, getting on board. We just passed the student fee, and I know that was really huge for us. So we're grateful that the student body spoke up. And so, yeah, we're going to make it. We're going to be okay. I'm excited about some of our new coaches that we have, the coaches we're bringing back, and the success that we've seen and will continue to see in our field of competition.
See, Chase, you're wanting free shirts, and there's budget concerns.
Dude, yeah, thanks, Carmen. It really threw me
I'm
on the
going to give
bus
you one
there,
of my
but...
shirts, Chase, or one of James' shirts.
What,
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Love James to death. He wears a medium. What am I going to do with that?
He's not a medium, and he's gonna make you pay for that comment when he sees you.
You're right. He's gotten so jacked lately. He's an extra large. I don't know what you want from me, James. He was a DB. What do you want from me?
He's chiseled, yeah. We'll get you a shirt, my guy. As an alumni, as a football alumni, we can take care of you.
Speaking of James, tell us how, you know, I think we both have this similar experience, right, with dating as a student athlete and then marrying somebody incredibly busy within the, same field of healthcare. Tell me, did you find that difficult? What are some things you do to kind of like get through that, and kind of talk me through your experience with going through what what an interesting time that time period is.
Yeah, yeah. We were long distance for a few years while he was in finishing up his doctorate. But as you know, being a former student athlete and dating and marrying a student athlete, just the understanding that comes along with it. We kind of already had that foundation, right?
Yeah.
So James was a fall sport. I was a spring sport. You're traveling and competing, and you just take advantage of the time when you're together. So we kind of already had that foundation already set. So it was like, look, you've got to study. I understand, or me working on a project at work, and then when we were able to speak and our schedules aligned, or when we went and visited each other, just making the most of that time. But I feel like because we were student athletes and had dated in college, we didn't have some of the difficulties that maybe if we didn't have that experience, that maybe other couples had experienced. So it was pretty seamless, thankfully. We are both very, very competitive. That doesn't
I
go
know.
away, you know. So as you know, for our annual Christmas tournament that we
Three
have
Reeve.
every year, so that doesn't go away. And he thinks he can always win, and I always do win. So it's fun.
Well, I'll say that, I'm sorry I asked you a lot about your personal life. It's questions I've always wanted to know, and I love yours and James' story and your commitment to athletics. And with that said, I'll say that James yearly, I know I missed this year, but hopefully I can make it this coming year, he's on my team. And I think we've won every single year so far. So I don't,
Yeah, that's
that's the
interesting.
great part is that,
Yeah,
and you guys had yourself, you had Natalie the first year. You had
that's the year we
and
won, but you must have forgot. Yeah.
no, you didn't win that year. We won that year.
What are y'all even
We'll have
talking about?
to get Avery on. Tibbs, we're talking about our yearly. We're
Yeah,
talking about
get
an
get
insider thing. You're
Avery
probably right.
to
Pretty terrible for a podcast, but
yeah.
we do a yearly competition that Carmen and I are both a part of a Christmas party. But it went from a bunch of old athletes from a Christmas party to screaming at each other across the room about trivia, and so yeah,
Christmas
great.
trivia.
Great podcast stuff, Carmen. I'm very sorry. I've derailed it
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Well,
I
I'm a guest on you all's podcast, so however you want the record to read, I'll support that. But when
No, I
Avery
can see it
comes
on
on,
Tim's
she'll
face.
she'll
He's going to
yeah.
cut this. Yeah.
no. I just
I'm
love how when I was like, "Hey Chase, do you want to know how to edit the podcast?" What? I can't hear you, and hangs up.
sounds about right. That's kind of how that
Yeah, I
Christmas
know.
game that Christmas match went. So it tracks.
I don't
That's
keep
for sure.
track of losses. I'm a ULM fan.
Aren't we all?
It's true.
Ay,
Messed
ay,
up.
ay.
You guys.
Carmen, what else is there going on around campus that we should know about, or as we get ready to kind of go into the lull there of the summer? I guess we still
Yeah.
have track and field going on, and then of course football will fire up here shortly.
Yeah, and softball is competing next week in Troy, so super excited about that. And then it's over the summer where we are still bringing in new student athletes and really helping those who are either graduating or moving on, making sure that we've set them up and they're ready for that. And then before you know it, it'll be fall. We still have summer access, so men and women's basketball and football will be on campus taking classes over the summer. So hopefully we'll get some solid A's as the foundation as we go into the fall. We had a really great last semester. We had a great year in the classroom. Super excited, broke some records, had an overall GPA of a 3.4, and that is a direct reflection of the counseling staff that we have at ULM in academics and the work that they put into the student athletes. Football is right there on the cusp of a 3.0, so that'll be huge. So we look to continue to build on that coming into this upcoming academic year.
With all the portal stuff going on, though, how does that play into these GPAs? Like, if Chase is there and he decides he doesn't like it, and so he's going to transfer to Louisiana Lafayette, does his
I will leave this podcast.
Yikes.
does his GPA stay with ULM, or is it that he gets a 0.0, or ULM gets a credit for a 0.0 for him leaving?
Yeah, so actually, that's a great question. It depends. So unfortunately, sometimes kids will go in the portal and they don't find a home, and that's when we take hits. But as long as he is meeting certain benchmarks and he enrolls full time, then we're good, and we don't take the hit. But unfortunately, sometimes you do have a situation where a kid doesn't find a home, and so that can be difficult because we're still held to the APR standards by the NCAA, but the portal is open and it's free reign for the student athlete. So that's when the relationship and rapport that we have with them is so important, because it's like, look, I know you want to leave, or I know you're contemplating decisions, but these are things that you need to take into consideration, because hours are lost when you transfer. And for a student athlete that only has 1 year of eligibility and is a semester away from graduating at ULM, the likelihood of them being eligible and being able to graduate when they still have eligibility left can sometimes be rare. So just making sure that before those decisions are made, that they've got everything on the table and they're doing what they feel is best.
Yeah, I think that's something that brings up a bigger point, right? That, you know, when you talk about the transfer portal, and I agree with some of it, I don't agree with all of it. But you know, a lot of people are getting upset about how people are flipping from their team or leaving the team. I'm worried about what these long-term graduation rates will look like. I'm worried about, you know, the core of what higher education should be and can be for a community and in somebody's life. And so, do you think that, and this is me asking you without asking you to look at any research or anything, is that something you see common? Do you think that have graduation rates come down? Do we have any data on things like that yet?
Yeah, we do report it every year. It's part of the APR that we do. But you're exactly right. I mean, we're going to see the results of the transfer portal and kids hopping in and being here 1 year and somewhere else the next year. We're going to see it eventually, and really it makes it difficult for the universities, because they can leave and we're still held to the standard and the benchmarks of APR. So but really most importantly is, even though student athletes, you know, are able to use their talent to get a degree, it really is about their education, because the vast majority of them are not going to be professionals in their field of competition. And so having that degree and that foundation is so incredibly important, and just really kind of stressing that and always staying in their ear about why they're really there.
A question I got asked, and I really had no answer for it. You know, obviously with the loss of Ahmad Hardy, that hurt a lot. But we have the second coming, hopefully, there in Deshaun Ford. But I know that Coach Vincent was overly paranoid about him being poached. Is that true that a high school kid can portal before they even step foot on campus?
Yeah, I mean the student athletes really do have they have all the control, which, you know, I think there is a happy medium somewhere in between there. I think the pendulum has kind of shifted a little far, and we kind of need to come back to center. But not only with incoming freshmen, but even with you know, mid kids can leave in the middle of a year. They can sign with us, work out in the summer, and leave right before, the fall season starts. So it's just, again, keeping that communication open and making sure that we give them all the information so they're making the most educated decision.
Chase's favorite question that I'll steal from him, since he's portaling to Louisiana Lafayette.
Yikes.
Say it again, Thibs. Say it one more time.
He wants to try out to be Cayenne. They're bringing him back, and it's going to be Chase.
I know Chase as a Texan would never do such a thing.
Absolutely.
And as a ULM grad, blasphemy.
Blasphemy. Thank you, Carmen. Thanks for having my back.
As Chase always asks, my hero. I still have my 71 jersey.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
What's the go-to meal in Monroe? Whenever you get a chance to go out and grab a meal, where are you headed?
Now we're back when I was in school.
Both.
Okay. I'm going to tell you, when I was in school and of age, when I came back from a summer, it was always Johnny's and Oasis. That was kind of like the first meal. We didn't have.
They have food at Oasis?
Johnny's Pizza?
Johnny's
and then
Pizza
Oasis?
and Oasis daiquiris when I was of age. So senior year is
Of course,
when
legal drinking for sure.
Yeah. We don't have drive-through
Daiquiris.
libations
Not true.
in Texas.
They are coming around.
Are
Where?
they? Okay. Well then,
Oh,
now
because
I'm
COVID
dating
changed all
myself.
those laws in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. Carmen, you're getting old.
Back in the day, it wasn't a thing. So that was the first thing we did. Golly, now I really like Traps. Joey's spot. The seafood nachos are undefeated.
Great.
Parish is another place that James and I will frequent when we have a sitter. So yeah, those are my. But you can't go wrong with Johnny's in a good daiquiri.
See, I love that. And they talk a lot about, don't get me started on food here, Carmen, but people talk a lot of crap about Johnny's. And they say you either love it or they say you either hate it. But how can you hate a sweep the swamp, take the anchovies off, that's gross, and then you dip it in some questionable cheese or marinara? You can't tell me that isn't a top-tier meal in Monroe, Louisiana.
I agree. Johnny's bricked. You're gonna have me all day, every day. The bricked pizza is 10 out of 10. Yeah. So I'm hooked.
answer.
I'm on the yes.
Girl, you are
Bacon
from Monroe.
cheeseburger.
I'll tell you that, though. That was a Monroe
Bacon
accent.
cheeseburger with no onions and extra nacho cheese sauce.
From where?
From Johnny's. And you got to get it as a well done baked.
Oh, you talking about that?
Oh, okay. I haven't tried that.
I haven't
take your
tried that.
word.
It sounds disgusting. I don't know who would do that, but
Probably a Lafayette person.
probably from some. Off the rails, Thibs.
Always. What else do we have?
I got nothing for Carmen.
Nice. You have
You've been
something for me
great.
then? I know I'm
No.
number one in your heart.
Not really. I appreciate all the updates about all the sports.
Yeah.
Carmen, I just want to say I'm grateful for our time together personally. I'm grateful for our time together professionally. I have said this many times and will continue to say it, that ULM is very lucky to have you. And I love you and your family. And I want to say thanks so much for taking the time out tonight to come talk to us.
It is a privilege. You guys are two of the absolute best. Chase, we'll have to report back after Christmas this year to set the record straight. And
That's right. We'll put Carmen on the schedule for next January.
There you go.
And then the listeners will have a clue of what the hell we're talking about. And then, we'll have Thibs come commentate it. With Thibs, we need you to leave Christmas with your family and come and do a gig.
Christmas in Monroe.
Thibs?
That's usually something that happens.
Yeah, you're there, right?
Okay.
So just leave for a few hours, come give some live commentary, and then
There you
report
go.
back.